All right, I'm the Flat Rate Master, and let's talk about the cautionary tale that you need to take away from me getting fired. And this is important for, well, anybody in the job market. In case you haven't, watched the news, inflation's up, the economy's not doing great, and there's quite frankly a lot of issues in the world that we're dealing with. Your job can go away at any time, just like mine did. Your boss may just fire you and not give you a severance package. Your boss may just say, sorry, the shop's closing. I can't pay you anymore. It's over. It could be a situation where you're just an extra tech and they decide that it's better to get rid of you. And that's why I talk about so much about saving, having a nest egg, having an emergency fund. Everybody's reaching out to me. I did a podcast yesterday with Matt Fanslow. And, we talked about, he's like, I hope you get a job fast. I'm like, I don't need to get a job fast. I mean, I, want to do stuff, but the thing is I need to figure out the right place for me to go. And that's not a quick process, especially with my income level. And what I mean by that is you need to be prepared for you to suddenly lose your job. Overnight, you can go from making a lot of money to making unemployment. You could be going from making whatever you're making to nothing, depending on the circumstances. You got to be very prepared for that situation. Living paycheck to paycheck is a bad idea no matter who you are. Running out of money every week just is bad. It just is a bad idea. You need to make sure you have a nest egg. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, that means sacrificing lifestyle. I'm sorry, it is what it is. And the thing about it is the more you make, the more your lifestyle needs to change, because if you're used to a certain lifestyle, you're going to want to have enough money to maintain that lifestyle. So it's really important that you save for at least 6 months of income, so you have something to fall back on. Unfortunately, it happens. You're not immediately worried about losing your truck, losing your toolboxes, being able to make your house payments, your rent payments. You need to be prepared. And if nothing else from my firing, hopefully y'all will understand that, is that you need to be prepared for stuff to change in a heartbeat. We live in an industry where injuries are rampant. Some are induced by the technicians, some are induced by our industry, some are just wear and tear on our body, but we need to be prepared for the possibility. Now let's talk about where that money needs to go. That money needs to be accessible. That doesn't mean investing in the stock market with it. It doesn't mean putting it in a 2-year CD. Doesn't mean putting it in a money market. Unfortunately, it means putting it in a savings account or a very short-term CD or multiple short-term CDs, because you need to have access to that money relatively quick, especially if you lose your job or you get hurt. You don't need to have it, like a 401k. That's a bad idea for emergency funds. Emergency funds need to be readily available. Yes, you're not going to make money on that money, 1% or whatever, whatever savings accounts pay nowadays, it ain't much. But my point of that is it needs to be available to you. Whatever you do with it, you need to put it somewhere that you can access it. And I don't mean bury it in your backyard. You need to make sure it's in an FDIC insured account so you don't lose it in case a bank folds, so you don't wind up in a position like the people that had money in the Silicon Valley Bank. I'm not going to get into that, and I haven't really looked into it too much because I don't have money in that bank. But you need to have access to it. That's the important thing is, just even if it's, oh, my air conditioning went out, I've got an emergency fund. It's not the best use of that emergency fund, but the thing is when an emergency happens, your emergency fund needs to be available. I know I'm harping on that, but it's super important that you're not struggling to get that money out so you can use it to live. I mean, that's one of the things is, they say for every $10,000 you earn it takes a month to find a job. So if you're making $80,000 a year, it might take you 8 months to find the right job. And by that, I mean, don't settle. Find the right job. If you've got an emergency fund and you're not desperate for a job, it's a whole lot easier to be choosy on where you go. Hope you found this video helpful. As always, thanks for watching. I am the Flat Rate Master.